Despite his grief, he's going to keep a stiff upper lip and go on with the show. Queen Elizabeth would have wanted it that way. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on. A mandate to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that. How about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bald Brian?
Fuck me.
I'm the black guy.
All right. Well, Queen Elizabeth is dead. I have no thoughts about it. She made it to the ripe old age of,
96.
96. And I do feel bad for these people who run up against some modern time controversy stuff and then they die.
Right.
Like Joe Paterno. You know what I mean?
Disgraced queen.
Joe Paterno was the king of the college world and beyond.
Universally
beloved.
respected.
Statues erected. I mean, the biggest man on campus, and he had a 50-year run in the last 10 minutes. Tons of controversy. And
That's all I know about
then
him.
he's got to die. And that poor queen had that witch Meghan Markle brought into her life.
Well, what about Andrew with the underage girls?
Oh, yeah. Not as bad, but almost as bad.
Tough
As a biracial princess.
And you're just laying there going, oh, shit. And then you die.
Yeah.
The last
She couldn't take it anymore.
last 3 years of her life were spent dealing with this shit. And then now she's gone.
That's why you got to go out early.
That's right.
That's a lesson.
You got to go,
James Dean
Jim
style.
Morrison.
Other than early James Dean, I mean, like, you feel the end coming on, just cut it off there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to wait around these last couple of years.
Let's see. Last night at the Improv in Hollywood, a fabulous show. Another great lineup. Eric Griffin was there. Chris D'Elia was there. Lunel was there. Bill Bellamy. It was quite a span. And I gotta say, one of the side effects of putting on these shows is I end up sitting in the audience or upstairs and watching everyone's act, which it's a lot to glean from that when you're doing comedy. And I never really did that before. I would just sort of show up and leave.
You never did. This is quite the change, because the first year of the radio show, we did a show at the Improv, and it was like the Adam Carolla Show players, and it was a whole bunch of, I think Eddie Pepitone was there. It was a whole bunch of, people who had been on the show. And after Adam introduced the show, he went over to Sheck in the audience off stage. It was like, you handle the rest. I'm headed home.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave hosted the show.
Hey, Brian, just between you and me, while Adam's not paying attention to us, didn't he do the same thing at Laughs with Bald Brian?
Well, Laughs with Bald Brian.
No, he showed up late.
Oh, I knew it was
And I
something.
hosted the show, you bitch.
Not late. I had a shoot with Jay Leno.
You were driving.
Yes, I did a car race with Jay Leno that was in Fontana or something, and I got out of there at some point and hustled it out.
That's excused absence.
Irrespective of what Gina says, I appreciate you being there. I know you had a long day and a long drive, and
Yes.
that meant a lot to some of us.
Well, they're all great. They're all very different, and it's kind of nice. I think a lot of times the lineup becomes a sort of like-minded lineup, so you get a version of the guys putting it on. If the guy's putting it on is Joe Rogan, you get comedians that are Rogan-esque in their approach. Or if there's a black comedian who puts it on, so it's Chocolate Thunder Night, and they just kind of got a... it's a certain approach. But
it's hard to think about Lunel without thinking of Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. So, I mean, Lunel, look, Bill Bellamy, Lunel, Chris D'Elia, and then you got Eric Griffin, who's kind of in between. He's like sort of got some black stuff, but a lot of observational stuff. So, and then there's, me, a lot of racist stuff. So it was,
gamut.
It was interesting, but it's fun to watch everyone's process. Everyone is sweet and funny, and you also kind of realize that you can tell these guys are super seasoned. You know what I mean? They just get up there and do it, and they have their 10,000 hours of experience. So that was a treat, and it was fun. I think D'Elia's going to come on the show. He got in some controversies, got canceled. He's got sort of half canceled with some controversy, but
he's mostly canceled. You remember they took him out of the movie he was in. They Disney replaced him with Tig Notaro.
Yeah, I mean, talk about swappable.
Army of the Dead.
Right.
Which
Yes.
is a marginal film.
Well, what I'm saying is as long as you're a stand-up comedian and a good stand-up comedian, you can only be canceled to that
such
degree.
degree, yeah.
You know what I
can
mean?
eliminate the middleman and just go to the audience.
Yeah, you can work. I think that's the lure of it for a lot of comedians, that they sort of have this. It's almost like being a carpenter, and that you actually have a trade. You don't have to get cast in something, or you can't be digitally replaced by Tig Notaro. But so he'll come in. We'll talk to him about that. So speaking of Carpenter, I was thinking of the Bobby Darin song, "If I Were a Carpenter," and
You were a lady.
yeah, it's real '60s blowhardy kind of stuff.
This is after he made the transition from early
the
Bobby
Knife.
Darin to
Doo-wop.
Yeah, he had kind of a '50s version of him, and then he went into this kind of folksy version.
He had
of
several
him.
versions. He had the Splish Splash, I Was Taking a Bath, and then he had the whole Mac the Knife big band era, and then he was doing like folksy stuff.
Splish Splash is the Big Bopper.
Nope.
No?
Oh, I'm sure they both sang it.
Oh, okay.
I would think. Then they always covering each other, like all those bands.
Then
Big
then
Bopper,
Big
Chantilly Lace,
Yeah,
and
yeah, you're right. So it was Splish Splash.
Does say by Bobby Darin.
Yeah, Splish Splash.
Of course
I was
it does.
taking a bath. And then he got into Mac the Knife, and then he
had a-
got into...
He had a whole run as a crooner, a big band.
If they're talking about the same song, everybody covered Splish Splash. I don't know who Sandy and Junior are. Charlie Drake, Loggins and Messina.
How about
What?
It says Splish Splash, Loggins and Messina, 1975. I don't, unless there's another song called Splish Splash.
Well, I was incorrect in it anyway, but I'm sure people did cover it. But then he do Abraham, Martin, and John?
No, that's Dion.
Oh, that's Dion. Oh, so
I thought
Dion
that was
went
Walt
from
Rabley.
Dion went from sort of 50s guy into sort of 60s
Folk
kind of
hippie.
folksy hippie thing. I guess a lot of guys made the transition. Anyway, that song, I was going over it, and
one's
I
this?
realized I always
If I were a
replaced
carpenter.
a word, because I would say, if I was a carpenter and you were my lady. It doesn't say my. It's kind of weird.
If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby?
The thing that's funny about this song is you listen to it. First off, I said my lady because it didn't make sense to say a lady. If you were a lady, it's kind of insulting.
Does he mean lady like in a regal way, like Lady Di?
That's what Lady and the Lord kind of thing.
All right, so you're not a floozy or a
You're a
whore.
woman of status.
The only reason I know this song is because from Sopranos, where Chrissy goes, "If I were a carpenter and you were a douchebag."
And then he picks out lots of other pretty blue-collar professions. If I were him, I'd pick like commercial airline pilot or accountant.
My hands in the wood, would you still love me? Answer me, baby, yes I would.
I guess it's a song about
Put you above
500 years ago or
The working
1,000
man?
years ago. Because
If I were
Miller.
a miller at a mill wheel grinding.
This feels lazy.
I think the answer would be no. Like if you were nobility, Gina,
Yeah.
and I was just working by a mill wheel the whole day,
I'm not interested.
covered
Fawn boy,
with
fetch me that picture.
mill residue.
Yeah, I'm not down.
Yeah, if you were the lady of the land.
Yeah, how are you elevating my status? I see the favor I'm doing you.
Yeah. And then later, I think,
If I were a carpenter.
later he talks about making pots, I think, like he was a tinsmith or something. Is that in there, or am I making that one up?
The
Song's
remix.
about to end.
Oh, no. We skipped. I think we hopped ahead.
Would you marry me?
Oh, Karen, the pots I made. Follow behind.
Yeah,
me.
he was a tinker. He was a tinker.
The tinker.
Would my trade, would you still find me? Yeah. Karen Potts he made. That, I think no.
Yeah.
Hey, my lady,
Yes.
you run this kingdom?
Oh, I do.
I make chamber pots and spittoons.
Good
Well, they're not full.
day.
Oh, come on.
you.
What are you, uptight? Come on, don't put the drawbridge up, baby. Why you gonna be a hater?
a pre-used chamber pot or spittoon.
right.
It's just a piece of galvanized metal.
Yes,
It's just a bowl.
people need reconditioned chamber pots. They're not all brand new.
CPO.
Go speak to the butler.
You want the landfills filled with one-use chamber pots? I
With
recondition
Cuspidora?
those chamber pots.
This song feels very lazy. Like 4 random trades and then the end.
Well,
Yeah, where's the hook?
Yeah. Yeah, you love a hook.
there's no hook.
There's the hook.
Is this the Uptown Funk of its day?
No, how dare you?
Well, Johnny Cash and June Carpenter got like a Grammy for this. Yes.
For the duet.
This song?
That's what.
One of the
that's
greatest
what I
duets
was-
of all time?
That's what I was. That's what I was told.
I don't
it was
like
a
that.
weird musical time. We had this, and we had like I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. We had all these weird psychedelic,
Yeah.
crazy shit going along with this weird stuff. 71 Grammy for Best Country Performance.
Let this be a lesson
Duo.
to every creative person listening. The reason we revere and remember Frank Sinatra and not Bobby Darin, Bobby Darin was every bit the creative genius that Frank Sinatra was, maybe more so. He arranged his songs, he wrote his songs. Sinatra never did this shit. Sinatra knew what he did well, and
Right.
he did it forever. And he's a
Right.
legend.
Yeah. All right. We have, I should tell people once again that tonight, the big screen's not working, Chris, but tonight in Austin, the Brian Bosworth will join us. And I don't think, maybe we should try to figure this out one day. They're dudes that chicks like. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, we all agree on Richard Grieco.
Who's going
First
to
name came to
complain?
mind.
And but they're those guys.
The pretty guys.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Jared Leto before he went cult leader.
Yeah, they're the guys that women are attracted to.
Yeah.
And then they're the guys that straight guys are attracted to. And Brian Bosworth, during his playing days at
We're
Oklahoma,
not getting much better than that.
that's
Panty
the
dropper.
guy that guys thought was the dude.
Right.
And we would have appreciated it if you would be attracted to him more than the Jared Leto
get it.
types. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's one of your, why can't you guys just be gay and ride off into the sunset?
Oh my God, we'd be
What a
doing
life.
Dr. Pepper commercials together. I'd be sitting at my mill wheel milling.
Milling, tinkering.
He's tinkering, making pots. I mean, he was. I don't know if you can find any pictures of him, Chris, like circa college playing days.
Yeah, but like in the uniform, he was the era where like were the cutoff jerseys.
Oh,
They
sure.
don't do that anymore. But they're the midriff exposed.
Had
Dolph
the-
Lundgren-esque.
Had the big bandana
Oh, yeah.
underneath the
Did he have a neck
helmet.
roll?
God, I think he had a toilet seat.
He had something going on.
as
back
we
there.
called the neck roll back then. But yeah, him in his uniform. Not many guys look better than the Boz in the uniform, and
I'm happy for you both that you got to experience that.
quite the character and quite the.
What are we looking at here? What's happening
This
here?
is Boz more in his media trading days.
Yeah, he's got.
I need to see him on the
He had
field.
like a mohawk at some point. He would color his mohawk. He'd put the bandana on. He had the toilet seat. He had the mesh jersey.
And to Boz's credit, I'm sure he got plenty of road poon.
Oh,
I'm not worried
yeah.
about that.
Well, we can ask him
Yeah.
when we see him on tonight.
Neck
I guess
roll.
is here. This,
Neck
yeah,
roll.
I had the neck roll. All right, we have. I'm apprehensive, but Gio somehow discovered the very first Mr. Birchum call into Kevin and Bean.
Oh.
First call.
Like when they didn't really know you.
They had no idea who was calling.
Oh, my God.
Jimmy just said, "Don't say you're my boxing trainer. Don't do anything. I'll just give you the number and I won't tell them.
Mm-hmm.
You just call in." And
Can you imagine the elation on Gio's face in his heart when he found this.
I don't know if
I'm
there's a date
excited.
stamp on it. Had to be
There's
94. Well, it had to be May of 94. Sometime. Could have been April. I'd say May of 94. Well, it was, I'll tell you when it was. If we can find out when the Bleeda and Reseda went down, which
Before
would have
that.
been late April, early May, I think, 94. This would have been the next Monday.
Oh, okay.
Because
And-
I was his boxing
Right.
coach
I thought
up
you were
until
doing it up.
that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, so Gio was trying to figure it out. he says that we know Kurt Cobain died on April 8th, 94.
Right.
And your third or fourth call was labeled April 22nd, 94. So maybe April 11th. We're not sure, but
Yeah, probably called in once a week or something like that. So early April 94. Remember, the backdrop is I was going to turn 30. Well, actually, I successfully did in May of 94. And my whole plan was I had to be doing something by the time my 30th birthday rolled around. So that was the
Down to the millisecond.
I was cutting
the
it.
11th hour.
I was cutting it close because a couple weeks earlier I was still just, on a mill wheel milling or making a pot tinning or
throwing
putting my hands in sawdust or whatever Bobby was singing about. Now, this call, I'd not started doing the Birchum voice yet. I was kind of talking in my normal voice.
Well, they have nothing to distinguish it from. They haven't met you.
It's true.
Yeah, I started to morph into the Birchum, much like the early Simpsons episodes.
Oh, when he sounds like Walter Matthau.
yeah. And I'm sure it's pretty green and shaky, but I think we should hear it.
All right, a few phone calls. KROQ, hello, who's this?
Yes, Mr. Birchum.
Mr. Birchum.
Yeah, I teach shop over Louis Pasteur Junior High in Monrovia.
All right, very good. So you're on the air for Kevin and Beans. What is your deal?
Well, listen, here's my problem. I know all my students will listen to your show.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I was wondering if you can replay this throughout the show.
Probably not, but go ahead.
Well, I got a message for him. I injured myself in the shop last night.
Right.
And I got my beard caught in the lathe.
Well, that's unfortunate. You'd think a shop teacher would not make a mistake like that.
Well, you know what? I don't have the safety lines around the shop at my house, and I'm going to put those down. Anyway, listen. The kids are going to have a substitute today in wood shop, and I know how they go nuts. So I got a message for you kids. Stay away from the joiner planer.
I think that's good advice to live by.
Just a moment here. I got a couple of things.
Well, we don't really have time to do a bunch of school announcements this morning.
Just a couple, if you could help me. It'll drive me nuts sitting home.
All right, go ahead. All right, real quick.
Okay, don't monkey with the fence on the router table.
Well, this certainly applies to a lot of our listeners today.
For Christ's sake, don't make any bongs.
Has that been a problem, Mr. Birchum?
Well, you know how the kids are with the grunge music and the MTV videos,
sure.
And the rap. They go nuts.
Well, you called the right station then.
A quick message for Brad Higginstaller. Now he's ninth semester woodshop, and this guy's good. Is my one good student, Brad. He made a kayak last summer.
Brad did?
Yeah. Took third in state fair. Yeah. Brad, listen, on that tackle box, use the biscuit joiner and corrugated nailer on those butt joints.
This may be...
Set up the radio arm saw with the dado blade. And use those for the rabbit joints. And put the chamfer bit on the plunge router, and then pass the whole damn thing to the drum sander.
All right.
And remember, you're not building a piano.
All right. That may be about as much time as we have for detail.
And there better not be any bits missing from my drill index, or I'm going to kick some butt.
All right, we got to
Monday.
We got to go.
Okay, could you replay this every couple of minutes?
Oh, absolutely.
Set to the clock radio.
Along with the school lunch menu, we'll be happy to take care of it. Thank you, teacher. See you later.
Okay.
Bye. Teacher.
This week, you had more of a De Beers, SNL Chicago accent, which I appreciated.
Yeah, so
they liked it. It was funny.
It was good enough to get to the second date. That's what I always tell people. You got to get to the second date. The first date. Like, how'd the first date go? The first date is to get to the second date, and it just has to get above a certain threshold. You know what I mean? You don't have to hit a home run. You just have to kind of get to the next one.
Put the ball in play.
And then eventually you just become part of this thing. But I remember hanging up the phone. I think I was sitting in the house that me and Ralph and Cortland rented in La Crescenta, California, and I was sitting in the dining room table because I had like my papers spread out, and probably had my portable phone, not my cell phone, but my in-house
900
cordless
megahertz, yeah.
phone. And I was just sitting there, and I remember when I was done, I was like, I gotta call Jimmy. I guess because Jimmy's there. He's
Yeah.
gonna
know.
go
What's the vibe in there? What's
He's
the
gonna
temp?
figure it out. And he kind of told me at the beginning, like, Jimmy didn't remember it this way, but he kind of said, give it a shot. He didn't say they're not going to like it. He's just going to say they're probably not. They're just going to get bored. They had like ADD. Like they'd go, yeah, we did that last week.
Right.
Well,
Right.
we would do something else this week. So he said, like, don't count on it. But
try
then
it.
he was like inside, and I guess he was asking questions, and he was like, I think we can do it again next week. And I'm like, oh, okay, good, we'll do it next week. Or we probably went out to lunch or something after that. But the point is the angle. So much like we talked about with the sign language guy at the club or girl at the club, what is the angle? What are you doing? Why are you calling this radio station? What is your motivation? And people go, it's a comedy bit. Yeah, but it's got to live somewhere. Like you got to.
Yeah.
They don't know why I'm
What's the
calling.
point?
Why I'm calling in. So that was my point.
Were you given like a warm line or hotline number, or were you just in the bank of phone calls? Like what did they know at all about your call?
I think Jimmy gave me the warm line or hotline. I never even knew there was a warm line.
Oh, there's a KFI.
I think
For non-emergencies.
I think I got the warm line number, and I don't. He briefed them and that somebody's calling in,
But they didn't know what to expect.
That's all we
Yeah.
got. Yes, and he was like, I will not tell him you're my boxing coach because you're
Yes.
you're immediately going to fall into the unfunny hamper, and then it's going to seem like I'm doing you a favor and blah, blah, blah.
When you initially said that really stuck out at me because in general, when you meet someone, when you're networking, the first thing you want to do, your first instinct, and it's usually right, is to sort of ingratiate yourself by showing where the connection is. And that is, you've got to ignore that in radio. It only makes things worse. You just want to come out of the box and do your thing.
Jimmy did a lot of don't drive the van, you'll be the van
Right.
driver. Don't tell him
Smart.
you're the boxing coach, you'll be the boxing coach. Don't let him lay a label on you.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
And the guys, you could tell they liked it by the way they played along. They really kept the ball in the air. It was fun. We don't have time for the lunch menu.
I completely forgot about the part where I was asking them to replay it throughout
it's
the
great.
course of the day.
Because that was the point of the call. That was your only way to connect to the kids while you were home.
Yeah, it would never work today, but it would have worked back in 1994 that every 13-year-old in the vicinity had their clock alarm tuned to KROQ. People forget just what a powerhouse station that was. All right.
When's the KROQ doc coming out?
I literally
Come on, man.
was walking past a edit bay. I don't know. Same edit bay. I brought Phil in with me to work for the last couple of days, but I dropped him off at the other shop, and I was informed that he ate someone's sandwich.
Oh, boy.
In one of the edit bays, somebody ordered a big Cuban sandwich and left it on their desk,
Well, that's on
and then
them.
made the mistake of walking into the next room, and Phil snatched it up.
Phil's a bully.
How do you think Phil would do with a 4-month-old Lhasa Apso? Because we're currently puppy sitting, and this is the love of my life, and I want to bring him in to see Phil. Unless it's going to eat him.
Dude, that's an appetizer.
Yeah, I don't want him to eat
That's
him.
an amuse-bouche.
Phil is full baby Huey.
Yeah.
Like Phil
He doesn't know his own strength.
No, he does not. He does not know his own strength.
He just wants to pet the rabbits.
I know.
Yeah, he will crush
Love
that.
him and squeeze him.
He will crush that dog
All
with
right, I'll leave him
love.
home.
Yeah, he goes nuts.
Yeah.
In front of any dog, it runs in circles.
Okay.
It's like he's never seen another dog. It's weird. Like, go find a mirror, dude. But I actually have it. During the break, I'll find it. But I told you, he doesn't bark, he doesn't growl, he doesn't do anything unless he's attacking me, in which case he does bark and he does growl. And in the evenings, him and Sonny will come into the office, and then Sonny will get him whipped up, and then he'll try to attack me.
Right.
And
As Sonny sneaks out the door.
no, Sonny films it.
Oh,
I
good.
just
Even
forgot.
better.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know, grab my phone off that table over
That's
there.
some
I'll
revenge
try to-
porn
It's
try
gonna
to send it to
going.
you.
Wait, no, finish your story.
Oh,
You
yeah,
walked past
okay.
the edit bay.
Oh,
Before Gina.
No, about about KROQ.
Yes.
I'm not the one who started with the Cuban
started
sandwich.
it with Phil. Thank you. Walked past the edit bay, saw Rodney Bingenheimer's 28-year-old version of Rodney up on the screen and thought, good, because we're doing, I think it's a 4-part series on KROQ now. And I think we're getting to the point where we could look at some, rough cuts and things of that nature. So it's good. And yeah, it's a story, man. It's a crazy story. It's also it's like how radio works. It's like how Kevin and Bean got fired. How they get fired? They just like told them one day, don't come in, or that's your last day. There's no pomp and circumstance. Or Bean had his last day. Jimmy and I went over there to the studio and hung out with Kevin and did that for a while, for the whole show, pretty much.
Well, that's by design. They don't give DJs too much of a heads up. They don't want you to, go crazy on the station.
Yeah, it's really weird. Radio's weird in that every other profession, when you get 25 years in or 30 years in of distinguished performance, they throw a party and you get a watch or something. You don't get escorted out of the building.
Yeah, with your banker's box.
Right. It's just this crazy thing that they do in radio. But man, that station was so influential and such a powerhouse. And I don't think younger people really, they don't get the power that radio had or the power that personalities on the radio had or just how big and how they influenced culture. And, it's not just about music. It's like in the video or in the doc, it's Tony Hawk talking about how KROQ was the skater station and they would all listen to that and all the comedians would listen and just how powerful those stations were.
I'm excited. A lot of angles to explore.
Yeah. All right. You guys talk about something.
Well, and
Let me see if I can
that's the other
send
thing
this
for
to
people who
Chris.
aren't from here or don't technically know much about KROQ. Any band you like, or as much as it kills me to say this, your parents like, like No Doubt or Nirvana or whatever, you can thank KROQ for them being on the map.
Yeah, they programmed the nation, so to speak.
Exactly.
Keep talking.
What other bands? I wasn't there, Brian.
Oh, here's Sonny.
It's also cool how KROQ had like eras, you know what I mean? Rock of the 90s. They started off as a weird, odd indie station.
Right.
I mean, they were corporate, of course, but you know what I'm saying? They put people on the air who probably wouldn't be on other stations.
Yeah, and great branding. When you call yourself the world famous anything, people believe it. Do people know who you are in Amsterdam? Probably not, but you're the world famous KROQ. What are you doing over there?
I'm looking at my phone, but I don't know how to send. I don't know how to send it to Chris. I don't know if it's too big a file. If
No,
Phil,
it's not that. You're on
Phil
the
attack me. I don't know.
We
I
got to
tapped
download it to your photos.
All right, you do it. All right.
You can airdrop it to me. That'd be best.
Okay.
Airdrop it. Willie Mays Aikens is going to be in on the next thing. This guy was a phenom when he played. His story's insane. I mean,
crazy stuff.
Ended up, I think, until Chase Utley did it. I think. Thank you, Gina. I think I got that right. Hit 2 home runs in 2 separate World Series games in the same series.
It's pretty badass.
That they lost. Sorry, Gina. He was a Royal.
I know.
He was a Royal then. But that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then, of course, to go from that to incarcerated for, I think he did 14 years out of a 20-year sentence is pretty fucking nuts. So we'll talk to him about that. I'll buy Chris a second and tell you guys about Simply Safe. Nothing matters more than safety to you and your loved ones. But old school home security companies use outdated technologies, overcharge you, and try to lock you into a multi-year contract. Well, that's where Simply Safe comes in. I trust these guys. Peel and stick. Batteries last up to 10 years. 24/7 professional monitoring. Their agents dispatch police or first responders the moment a threat is detected, even if you're not at home or cannot be reached. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/Adam and save 20% when you sign up for interactive monitoring. Get that plan and get your first month free. Visit simplysafe.com/Adam to learn more. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, let's see.
It received really small, so Chris is going to fix it.
All right, Chris will, let's see. Chris will fix my phone here. Sonny, there he is. All right, that's that little bitty video that's Sonny.
That's why
It's already small. Yeah, I don't know. File too big. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing. I know nothing. So I will believe everything.
Yeah. I like that bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Yes, I know nothing. I will believe everything, or possibly nothing. That's what knowing nothing will do for you. All right. Is Willie in the waiting room? Oh, yes, he is. All right. Well, Chris will figure out that vid. We'll take a quick break and be back with the legendary ball player, Willie Mays Aikens.
Time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
The one constant throw all the year, Ray has been baseball.
If you said Field of Dreams.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
Well, baseball player extraordinaire Willie Mays Aikens is joining us. He was the number 2 overall pick in 1975 for the MLB draft. Started off with the Angels, went to the Kansas City Royals, Gina Grad, and then to the Toronto Blue Jays. And then found trouble and found prison, and now there's a movie called The Royal, which is available on VOD and all digital platforms as we speak. Good to meet you, Willie Mays Aikens.
Same here, brother. Nice to meet you guys.
Willie Mays, your middle name? Did someone have an idea where this was going early?
I don't think so. You know, my stepfather or mom was not a sports fan. The Mays thing, to be honest, I don't have no idea where it came from. All I know is that it was a doctor in our neighborhood when I was a kid. His last name was Mays. So I was named after my uncle Willie Mickler. The Mays thing, you know, it just happened. I was named Mays, and Willie was my idol growing up as a kid. And I was blessed to become a baseball player.
Did you have the opportunity to ever meet Willie Mays?
You know, I think he's about 85 years old, and I have never met him before in my life. Absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Willie Mays still alive?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, is he? Let's find out the next round.
I'm surprised him and his folks never reached out to you, especially during those your playing days.
40 years ago.
Well, you know, Willie is the guy in the Baseball Hall of Fame, not me. So he never really had a reason to reach out to me, but I did him.
Have you met Willie McCovey? Any famous Willie that played baseball?
I don't think I have. Huh? You know, I played against Reggie Jackson, who was my idol also as a kid growing up. I played with a guy named Willie A. Davis. He played for the Dodgers back in the 60s and 70s. Willie Wilson was my team.
Willie Wilson, for the Royals.
All right.
Yeah.
Did baseball players are getting paid now. I'm guessing not so much when you signed in 75. Can you tell us what you signed for in 75?
Well, you mentioned earlier that I was the second player picked in the draft. 1975. The first player picked in the draft was a guy named Gene Richards, who was on the baseball team with me at South Carolina State College. Today, if a guy is drafted in the first round, second in the country, he probably signed for $5 or $6 million. Adam, I signed for $14,500. That was
and adjusted for inflation, it doesn't come close.
No.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I don't know. Baseball players. Well, nobody got paid back in the day, but I would say especially baseball players. So you ended up going to prison for, what was it, 14 years?
Well, the first time I went was 1983 as an active member of the Kansas City Royals. Myself and 3 of my teammates, we were the first Major League Baseball players that were sentenced to prison, and we ended up doing 81 days. 10 years later, in 1993, that's when I received that sentence of 20 years and 8 months. And my crime was I got drugs for a female who was an undercover officer. So I was kind of set up in a way. But to be honest, the setup was something that saved my life. It took me out of a situation. Even though I went for 20 years and did 14, it took me out of a situation whereas I was smoking cocaine every day and chasing females and doing stuff that eventually, the ends are always the same. You go to jail, rehabilitation, or you end up dead. So I was blessed to be taken out of this situation.
Yeah, I've got to say, as horrible as prison is versus, rehab center in Malibu, it is effective in that it saves lives because I don't know what the over-under on your life would have been out on the street with what you were engaged in, but probably about 18 months or something.
Right.
Well, if I had been charged with powder cocaine, the maximum sentence that I could have received was 27 months. Back then, they had that law, crack cocaine or powder cocaine versus a crack cocaine. And I was charged up under the crack cocaine, which I was charged with 67 grams. They took that up to 6.5 kilos, 6,700 grams. So, it was a law that was unjust, and I got myself in some trouble. And, the bad thing about it is that when you're doing stuff against the law, you should always know what the penalties are just in case you get caught,
Yeah. And I'm no conspiracy theorist, but something doesn't sit right with me when you start splitting hairs between powder cocaine and crack cocaine, if you know what I mean.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with systemic racism around here. Yeah. I'm going to carve out an exception for that. That was absurd.
Yes, that was a big thing. I think it's probably a Reagan thing, but they were going nuts for crack cocaine. And they were giving all sorts of sentencings that were disparate.
It was in that point of time when crack cocaine was tearing up the black neighborhoods, right. And the Black Caucus and a lot of the black people was calling out for help, was calling out for justice, and back in the 80s, and that's when they implemented that law. But the thing is, you can't have a different penalty for the amount of drug when it's the same drug.
Right.
Rock cocaine or crack cocaine, it comes from powder. So if you got 6,700 grams of powder cocaine, all you got to do is add water and baking soda to it, and you got 6.5 kilos of crack. So that's the reason the law, it doesn't make any sense, because person with that large amount of powder cocaine.
He's the king of Miami.
Guys. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, every Hollywood party had a sugar bowl filled with it, and everyone was dipping their beak into it. So can we talk about the movie, The Royal? How did this come about?
Well, when I was incarcerated, I met this guy through my baseball agent, Ron Shapiro. His name was Gregory Jordan. And when I went to prison, I was taking notes, thinking about once I got out of prison, I was going to write a book. So Gregory Jordan wrote a book with my baseball agent, Ron Shapiro. And while I was incarcerated, Gregory heard about my story. And Gregory told me that I was his childhood idol growing up as a kid. So Greg was talking to Ron one day about getting in contact with me. And Ron had my contact information and everything. And Greg got in contact with me while I was incarcerated. And we communicated back and forth. And when I got out of prison, we got together. And Gregory Jordan wrote the book, Safe at Home. And the movie, The Royal, comes from the book, Safe at Home. The thing about the movie is that it's post-prison. The movie deals with everything that happened in my life after I got out of prison.
Let's talk about hitting a home run in the World Series, or hitting multiple home runs in the World Series. There is nothing more exciting than hitting a home run. I've hit a few on much lower levels, but I hit them in high school. And the reason it's so exciting is you go from 0 to 100 in 0.3 seconds because at some point the pitcher's delivering the ball and you may be swinging and missing. Then at some point you make contact and a millisecond later you realize, this is what's going to happen as you see the ball and this thing comes over your body. It is so crazy. I could only imagine doing it on that stage, what that must have felt like.
Yeah, growing up as a kid, I was always a power hitter. I was a guy that could hit the ball out of the ballpark. And once I became a pro, Reggie Jackson was my idol, and I used to watch Reggie hit the home runs, and he would just throw his bat down and stand there and look at him. And I started doing that as a professional baseball player. I heard earlier you was talking about me hitting the home runs. The first two was on October 14th, which was my birthday, and the second two was the fourth game of the World Series playing in Kansas City. And, when I did this, I didn't even realize that I was the first player in over 100 years of World Series history to have multiple home runs in the World Series. And you also mentioned that Chase Upley, he's the other guy that did it in 09. So I had a tremendous World Series. The Phillies, they beat us. But if we had won the World Series, I probably would have gotten the MVP.
How often do you sit back and watch tape of that? Don't be modest. I would watch the shit out of that if I were you. That's all I would watch.
Well, actually, I don't. When I do speaking engagements and stuff like that, I got certain clips that I show about myself before I do my speaking engagement. And a lot of those clips involve me hitting those 4 home runs in the World Series. I had a total of 7 years as a Major League Baseball player, and the 1980 World Series was the highlight of my baseball career. A couple of months ago, I was invited up to Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame. They did a premiere of the movie and everything, and the bat that I used in the 1980 World Series is in Cooperstown, and I got a chance to see that. But actually, I don't really go back and I have all the tapes of the 1980 World Series, but I don't really go back and watch those videos or anything like that. I got a 11-year-old daughter, so one day I'll probably introduce her to her dad as a baseball player, as a hero in the World Series.
Do you remember the pitchers you hit the home runs off of?
Bob Walk was the first one. You know what happened before the World Series? I heard through the scouting report that the Philadelphia Phillies was going to try to throw me fastballs inside. So my first at bat of the World Series, I took the first pitch, and it was a fastball on the inside part of the plate. As a hitter, if you got some kind of idea of what the pitcher is going to throw, well, you have a pretty good chance of hitting the baseball. So my first 3 home runs came off of fastballs out of the plate in. And the fourth one I hit it in Kansas City in the bullpen, it was a hanging or a slider. I guess they just got tired of me hitting those fastballs, so they tried to trick me. And he threw me like four sliders in a row, and the fourth one I hit in the bullpen in Kansas City. But trying to hit a baseball is the toughest thing to do in all sports. But I couldn't run. I was a so-so first baseman. God gave me the ability to be able to hit a baseball, and that was the reason why I made it to the major leagues.
Find footage of that, Chris, so we can watch it, so Willie can relive his glory.
I have a selfish question. Willie, I'm from Kansas City, and even though I haven't lived there in many years, I have a fondness for it. And I know that you had a lot of really great times there and some challenging times there. Do you still have a fondness for the city? Have you visited, or was that just like one stop on a whole long way?
I was traded here in 1980. Mm-hmm. And if you take off those 14 years that I was incarcerated, I've lived here for the last 42 years.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I bought a townhouse in 1987, and I still have that same a townhouse. So I've made a Kansas City my home. And, I've worked for the Kansas City Royals for the past 12 years. and the Kansas City Royals are stationed here in Kansas City.
That's right.
And, I had the privilege to get back with my old team. Dayton Moore and the Kansas City Royals hired me in 2011 after spending 14 years in prison. And, for any organization to give a chance to an ex-con, a person that's been incarcerated for that many years, it's just a blessing. It didn't come because of what I had done. It came from my Heavenly Father. It was a blessing.
Well, if you need anything, my mom can run it over to you.
That sounds good to me.
Were you in protective custody inside the prison? Were you treated differently because of your status, or how did that work?
No, I started my sentence off in Leavenworth, Kansas. And before I got to Leavenworth, Kansas, they already knew I was coming, so they had a job for me taking care of the baseball field. I got into a fight one time while I was incarcerated, and they put me in solitary confinement for about 3 months. But they only put me in there for my safety and everything like that. But during those 14 years, I didn't have any problems. The inmates, they treated me well. The only problems I had was when it came around for the baseball season. I used to want to watch some baseball games on TV and stuff like that. And most of the inmates wasn't baseball fans and stuff like that. So the only time we got a chance to watch baseball games was when it was mandatory. The World Series came on after the season. That was the only time.
They wanted to watch their stories, I'm guessing.
That's right. Their programs.
So what was solitary? What's the schedule of being in solitary confinement? Is it 23 hours of the day inside the cell?
You got that right. You get 1 hour for exercise. They let you out of the cell for 1 hour, and you can go to a separate cage, if you want to call it, and you do your exercise. And then after that, they lock you back down for the next 23 hours. Yep, that's what it's like.
And what got you through those times?
Well, it's weird because when it happened to me in, I think it was 1996, I was in Estelle, South Carolina. And I had two little girls. They were 5 and 6 when I came to prison, and they were 19 and 20 when I got out. But I had contact with my second oldest daughter, a mom, and I didn't have contact with my oldest daughter, mom. So during that period of solitary confinement, I received a big manila envelope with pictures of my oldest daughter and their address and their contact information, so I could get in contact with them. So that solitary confinement was a period of time was joy for me, because I was able to find contact with my family members.
We have the 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Or one of the 2 home run days. So let's show it. Willie should watch.
Make him watch it.
And enjoy.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
him and his youth.
I love those uniforms.
Yeah, the old Royals uniforms. Yeah, that powder blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice, yeah. Robin's egg blue. All right, here it is.
Center field. McBride going back. Maddox
Bake
going
McBride.
That ball just got up there and just kept going. And Willie Mays Aikens just broke into his home run trot. He's just now getting to third base, and I don't blame him. He's going to enjoy it all the way.
I forgot one of the best sports names ever, Bake McBride.
Good name.
I don't know if his full name is Bakery or Bake Off. Yeah. You can't be Arnold, because everyone will come up to you and go, "What you talking about?"
Yeah. But the movie The Royal, I've gotten feedback so far from a lot of people, and they are impressed with it. It's a movie that's it's spiritual, it's emotional, and like I was telling you guys before, is my little girl was 5 and 6 when I went in, and they were 19 and 20 when I got out. And a big part of the movie It's me becoming a dad to my kids, a family man.
I'll tell you what would drive me insane about prison. Not being confined, not the food, not the 1 hour of exercise or looking over my shoulder. What would drive me nuts is I would talk to other inmates and I'd go, "What are you in for?" And they'd go, "I killed 3 nuns." And I'd go, "What'd you get?" 6 months. And I'd go, "God damn. I sold some cocaine and I got 20 years." It would drive me insane.
Yeah.
It would, because you would talk to people that killed their girlfriend and got a third of the time
and you're still there.
that you got, or the guys who were sold the powdered cocaine,
Right.
and the guy's doing 26 months and you're doing 20 years. Did that happen?
Yes, hello. My name is Graham Wellington.
Yes.
Exactly.
Would it drive you nuts, or were you not allowed to talk about what and how long?
You could. The sad thing about prison was that I had a 20-year sentence, and a lot of people that were incarcerated had life sentences for drug. In the federal system, you have to do 85% of your time. And your release date says, if you got a life sentence, your release date says deceased.
Oy.
And it is truly a sad a situation. But Adam, the correct name for prison is a correctional institution. So if a person want to correct themselves, like myself, finally, after a few years, I took two courses of rehabilitation centers. When I first got sentenced to 20 years and 8 months, I always felt like I was going to win my case on appeal. Because as a Major League Baseball player, every time I got in trouble, I was able to get out of it. 3 or 4 years would pass. I would lose an appeal. And before I knew it, I had been incarcerated for over 10 years. But during that period of time, I built a spiritual life. I became a better father to my kids while I was incarcerated. And I took it upon myself to work on the person that I saw in the mirror. And, it was 14 years was a long period of time, but a lot of times God allows stuff to happen in our lives to wake us up, to put us on the right track. And then when we are in a situation to correct ourselves, each person has a choice to help themselves out or continue to blame somebody for them being incarcerated. And then once they get out of prison, they go back to committing crime and stuff like that. I didn't have the criminal thinking mind of a criminal. I had the addictive thinking mind of an addict.
Well, and that's what we've talked about on the show before, with the pandemic and everything. You do the time or you let the time do you. And it seems like Willie figured it out.
Willie's having a little technical issue, but we'll figure this out. I was talking to somebody earlier today on my Take a Knee podcast, and people go, everything happens for a reason. And I said, well, everything happens. It's up to you to make the reason part of it. Right. You know what I mean? Like some people just get incarcerated and get angry and come out worse. You know what I mean? It's like everything happens to everyone at some point. A lot of it's tragic, and then it's not for a reason. You're in charge of the reason part. So Willie chose his reason. He got everything happened, and then he gave it the reason part. But this notion of everything happens and then there's a reason, I don't think the reason comes with everything happens.
Well, there's a meme that says that for people who say, some say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes the reason is you're stupid and you make bad decisions.
Right. And which can happen, and then you're up there to make the reason part of it work. Willie, the name of the movie is called The Royal, which is a great title for a movie. It's available on VOD and all digital platforms. And, God bless you, I would say. And congratulations for making the reason part of the everything happens work out for you.
I just want to thank you guys for having me on the show. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, I hope you get a chance to watch it. And just like you said, Adam, if it happened for a reason, that person has to understand that and eventually spend time and find out what was the reason. Mm-hmm. And I praise God that I was able to do that.
Willie Mays Aikens, thanks, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right.
guy.
Let's see. I look, it's, everyone doesn't have to go into prison or experience a tragedy and then come out the other side like an angry alcoholic. You can
make something of it.
You can make something of it. All right. Let me tell you guys about Geico. All right. I'll tell you about Geico. Do you own? Do you rent? Well, you do one or the other, right? And you work hard, I bet. Well, it's easy bundling your policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your automotive policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around the home. So go to Geico and get a quote and see just how much you could save and just how easy it is to save when you go to Geico. That is geico.com. All right. We'll talk to comedian Frankie Quiñones. Am I saying Quiñones right?
Quiñones.
Yeah. All right.
I did the thing you hate. I just repeated it back to you.
I got a funny show coming out on Hulu. We'll talk to him about that. And I'll find my, you got my Phil attacking me video, Max Pata. He also does this insane thing where he barks and growls, he attacks, and then he nibbles. It's this weird nibbling thing on my back or my arm. All right, well, we'll play it for you now, Frank.
Boy.
Sonny's flip phone.
Show fear. I mean, you're on the floor. He's above you. But you're kind of fucking with him. That's on you.
He thinks something's wrong with you.
It's the only time
God, he's loud.
He's calling for help.
It's the only time he's ever barked. He does not bark unless it's on me.
With a little tail.
Ring all the doorbells you want. He will not bark.
He's nibbling. He's nibbling. He's nibbling me.
Ferocious guard dog. I mean this in the best possible way. He is so useless.
He's nibbling.
He's not even trying to bite you.
My butt.
Really is. Eating ass.
He is.
All right.
He's the definition of all bark, no bite.
Oh, my
He's
God.
loud as shit,
so
but
useless.
nobody's afraid of him.
But he can down a Diablo sandwich in like 1.7 seconds. We'll put that up on our youtube.com/Adam Carolla, and you can check that out. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back with Frankie right after this.
In the spirit of Murrow, Jennings, Cronkite, here's another great moment in local news.
Even these Australian tourists, when I described hooligans as 19th century, often racist cartoons about families of Irish immigrants.
When you think of hooligan, you think of like soccer hooligans.
One thing I learned from those Australian tourists is that apparently the word mate isn't always used as a term of endearment. In fact, it's often used as a term of disappointment, as in, mate, I think you really need to rethink your life's choices. Thanks, mate. In Venice, I'm Jake Reiner, CBS 2 News.
Jake, I learned a lot.
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
In England, they call cigarettes fags. Oh, okay. Thank you. Good to know. Frankie Quiñones is here.
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, brother.
The TV show, or the series, is called The Fool, and it's on...
This Fool.
Oh, I'm sorry. This fool. This fool.
This fool over here.
This fool.
This fool over here.
Yeah, which is it's on Hulu, by the way. It's now streaming. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother.
Who were we talking to, or what tape were we playing several months ago with there was a kind of gangbanger guy?
It was the guy who wanted to get
fool.
Gascon's name tattooed on his face.
Oh yeah, it was this prison.
Yes, to the other guy on the other side of the glass.
Every third word was fool.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm not in a gang, and I'm not of Latin descent, but I don't feel that's ingratiating. Like if we did it, let's just say I was a white guy and I was doing this, And I was like, hey, Brian, hey, douche, we got to get out of here, okay, douche?
Okay.
Hey, douche. Okay.
Yeah.
So
are you talking to me?
I've talked to my, hey, douche, listen, douche.
You keep calling me
I
douche.
can talk to my correcting officer, douche,
right?
And my PO, douche. He says to me, I should go talk to the warden, douche. You listening, douche?
I am listening. I'm hearing you saying douche over and over again, and it's really insulting.
Yeah, I feel fool is, equally as insulting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see it that way, but I could see how it could look that, like, people that don't use it growing
Frankie,
up.
counterpoint.
Like, I don't know. To me, it's more like dude or like, hey, what's up, fool? Hey, so me and these fools are going, and like, I call myself a fool. Like, yeah, I'm just so,
It's kind of your N-word back and forth.
Come on, Adam.
Well, I mean,
It's great having you, Frankie.
It's not meant. Well, it's used quite frequently within certain cultures. It's not meant to build up the self-esteem of the person we're speaking to, but there's a tongue-in-cheek.
Sure. A folksiness.
Yes. So let's talk about the series because it made me think of something. So your character's out of prison.
Yeah.
There's a theme here. And you're going to go to work with Hugs, Not Thugs, right? Which is the bakery.
Yeah. It's a whole center, like a rehabilitation center. But
Like
yes, there is a bakery in there.
Like
We're
a
known for our
Homeboy
cupcakes.
bakery.
Yeah. I wonder if it's inspired by Homeboy Bakery.
Homeboy Industries.
Or Industries. You see it at LAX. And
Yeah, it's
probably
every
Huge.
farmer's
probably
market.
beyond.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, anybody in LA knows about Homeboy Industries for sure. It's a legendary
Have they
place.
expanded? It seems like they should.
Oh,
It
yeah.
seems like every
They just got like
city could use one.
Like another, I think like $20 million
Dude, they're
grant or
huge.
something. Or yeah, they've expanded and they were part like Chris Estrada, one of the creators and producers of the show, like went in and met with them, and they're part of they're like helping us out with like merchandising and stuff like that. Like yeah, they're some of their guys are like delivering some of the Hugs Not Thugs merchandise to
That's
to
awesome.
people.
They get there under 5.
Yeah.
Wasn't it started by a priest or a father?
Father
or something?
Boyle.
Father Gregory Boyle. Yeah.
That's it.
Did you grew up? I don't know where you're from.
I was born just down the road, actually, in San Fernando. And then we lived in Chatsworth, in a one-bedroom apartment in Chatsworth. And then we moved to Ventura County. I lived in San Francisco for like 13, 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Now I've been back here for 10 years in August.
Oh, we have the clip of the gang member.
Oh, you did?
Call.
Yeah, I want to see what this guy looks like.
Praising guest.
Yeah, you'll love this.
Hey, fool. Oh, he's in the prison.
Good. Now we got a new DA in LA, so they're gonna. I got court on the 14th, fool, right there in Compton, Thursday. So they're gonna drop a gang of like my gun enhancement, my gang enhancement. My gang enhancement's 10 years, fool, for being a gang member. And then the gun and the commission of a crime.
Gascon or wherever?
I don't get that name on my face. That's a champ right there. Gascon.
He's not even doing shit for misdemeanors.
That's the right there, bro. He's making historic changes for all of us, fool. So I'm just grateful, fool.
All right,
Like,
Frankie,
I
you
got
want to
good
play
news
the
out there.
gangbanger that's incarcerated, and I'll play
It's
your
my-
friend on the outside. Hey, bro, how's it going?
Hey, fool.
Yeah, I was just checking, see how you're doing. If you need reading materials or something.
I'm doing good because Gascon, fool, he read all the books we need to read. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been in the gang in a while. I keep hearing you say fool.
This recorded call is from an inmate at a California correctional
Yeah, were you
facility.
calling me a fool?
Yeah, fool, because you're,
Yeah, but I'm in my living room right now. Who's the fool in this real equation? You're incarcerated at this point. I'm thinking about heading out, and speaking of fool, I'm going into the pool, okay?
Yeah, then you'll be the pool fool. Yeah.
Yeah, you keep calling me fool, but again, you're the one who got caught. I'm out here, fool. You see, it's a two-way street.
I mean, you're taking it very literal,
No, I'm
it's
sorry.
funny.
I've been out of the gang for a while. We used to use bro and cabacho
My
and stuff
man.
like that. My man. We didn't throw fool around as liberally as you do today. But maybe I'm showing my years.
This recorded call is from an inmate at a California correctional facility.
Also, Adam, as a white man, I feel like you're leaning too hard on the L.
Mm.
Fool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the L is
Hard L, it's a
silent.
hard L,
Yeah.
The guy who got the VO gig during the correctional thing, I don't know. Is that a sweet gig? Like, do you audition for that?
I hope I get that.
I would love that.
Recorded call
is that like a
from an inmate at a
reenactment?
California correctional
You get that
facility.
like every 5 minutes when you're on a call with a prisoner.
Come on.
Yeah. Sorry, this guy. Yeah. I thought you were talking about. It's funny. The guy's name's Luis. That's my character's name in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Research.
Gascon.
Yeah, I'd be every 5 minutes because we used to talk to prisoner Dave.
I believe it was Prisoner Joe. What happened to him?
Prisoner David.
He used to call into my morning radio show, and this would pop up. He would call into the morning show, and that recording would come up every 5 minutes. And what can we remember from him?
He was in for conspiring to kill someone.
Yes. Yes.
Like he didn't actually murder.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Yes.
Well, it's like he had a life sentence or something. Very, very harsh.
Yeah, but he never called me a fool. He was
And he
very
was-
respectful.
He was jovial.
Yeah.
Nice guy. If we're listening to him.
So you grow up San Fernando.
In San Fernando, Ventura County, too, both of you.
What did you go? Did you play sports? Did you go to junior high out there? And the move from San Fernando to Chatsworth is kind of a step up, but not really. It's a little bit of a lateral move.
Yeah, it's definitely like we didn't move to like a neighborhood. We were like in an apartment complex in Chatsworth, like right off Laurel Canyon area. Like, so there's definitely nice parts of Chatsworth, but yeah, we were chilling.
Rich man, poor man, local version, Laurel Canyon Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize Laurel Canyon goes all the way down, homie.
Well, I'm a Valley guy. The Sun Valley was off of Laurel, but Chatsworth couldn't have been off of Laurel. You got to go deeper.
It's close.
I trust that I lived there.
See if Laurel Canyon goes through Chatsworth. I don't think it does. That's what
He's
I'm
calling you a liar.
I'm calling you a fool.
Yeah. I mean, it was a long. Yeah, we moved out of there a long time ago. So.
Because I grew up on Laurel Canyon too, in the sort of middle. Laurel Canyon has a bad, a middle, and a good.
Yeah.
Gina's living in the middle of Laurel Canyon right now.
You made it.
Oh, nice.
The bad is as it goes down into the San Fernando area.
Yeah.
And the good is when it gets. Yeah, if you start going up a steep incline, you're in good shape
That's
on
right.
Laurel
Gets
because now
greener.
we're getting into Hebrew Heights.
That's right.
And that's a different.
Hebrew Heights.
It's a better place to live.
Unofficial name.
So then, but from Chatsworth to Ventura is that's a better move. At least it dropped 25 degrees during the summer.
Yeah, it was chill. I mean, we lived in Oxnard and in Camarillo. I went to high school in Ventura, but yeah, we're in that whole area.
When did comedy start kicking in?
I was already living in San Francisco at the time. And then I started hitting open mics. And then, I was working at a warehouse job, shipping and receiving. I started hitting open mics at night. And then, just kept on going from there.
I'm looking at one of the characters you do, which is making me laugh just by looking at it, whose name is Creeper, who's a reformed cholo turned into a fitness guru. And I'm curious what Creeper may sound like.
Yeah, homie, he's like, he's a positive fool, he just like represents to the fullest. He's all about positive energy, You know what I mean? Just getting fools in shape and representing, homie. You know what I mean? And establishing your presence on the planet Earth or whatever. And he has his whistle. I'm like, that's what's up.
Let me ask this about the Latin community.
You're the representative.
Yeah, the representative. How do you feel about representation in
I
Hollywood?
have found through working construction with many a Latino, they can all whistle.
Oh.
They can all whistle. White guys, we whistle, like Andy
Peter
Griffith,
Pan,
like it's the Andy Griffith show or something. They do big pop. Stop that, truck backing up, and some guys, oh shit, the sidewalk, and they'll just go beep, and people respond to it. It's kind of it's actually something that should be taught. Some guy will be like stepping off of something into something, is going to hurt himself or something. Bam, that whistle goes. Everyone just stops when they hear that whistle. It'd be good to establish that with your kid. It'd be good if your kid knew the whistle.
Oh, sure, the family whistle.
Whitey can't whistle. I mean, we do
the movie.
a more elegant version of it, but not the part where you alert people. What is that? Is that taught? Is that discussed?
Yeah, you know what? I don't remember it being taught to me. I might have just been born with it. Yeah.
Can you do the big whistle?
You're talking about that?
Yes. That's. Brian, can you do it?
Not even close.
I wouldn't even know how to put my mouth to do
Whitey don't whistle.
My version with my wife. I go,
Whitey don't whistle.
With my wife, I go, psst.
Oh, that's horrible.
But I get her, she hates it.
Yeah,
but I get her attention from across the room in a crowded room, a restaurant or whatever.
My husband and I just go, hey.
No. She hears it from a mile away.
I don't like that.
My black friend Tom had I can't even whistle much. He had a whistle for me.
You got your own whistle?
He had like a call. It was like a call. He had
He's like the Von Trapp family.
He was smart. We'd be in a party or something. He was a little bit shorter. I didn't know where he was, or in a department store or something. Like that. And I'd go, oh, Tom, where's Tom? And I started looking around for Tom. He had his own.
Wow.
Your buddy Ozzy had a click.
Oh, that's right. He would click. Oh. Chris sadly thinks you may be thinking of Topanga Canyon.
Yeah,
going
you're
through
right
the Chatsworth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're off the 27. You're
Sorry, Brian.
Burn me at the
devastate
stake.
you, but maybe I knew something about Laurel.
Never been let down by a guest so hard.
Topanga Canyon, I'm tripping.
Where are you at now?
Hollywood.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess it depends what part of Hollywood. How's
wide
Hollywood going?
It's a lot of tents.
Yeah. How close to Hollywood Boulevard are you?
Like on one block. I'm on Sunset, off La Brea and Sunset, yeah.
There's some nice high rises over there.
Yeah, but your place can be nice, but you're going to experience the homeless situation.
Yeah. We have a nice building, but as soon as you step out, it's
rough.
There's fools getting down out there. Yeah.
Used correctly.
I keep seeing these goddamn ads. It's like, it's a bunch of Indians, and they're talking about casinos, and they're talking about offshore betting sites, and it's like Prop 127. Oh. They claim to want to clean up the homeless, but they're not going to clean up the homeless problem. It just seems like another big money dump into some other prop. You can find the commercial, Chris. I see them every 15 minutes on TV.
What's the point that the money, the gambling money, the surplus is going to?
I think there's a legalized gambling angle to this, which is really at the root of all of it.
Yeah, because it seems
where is the excess money going to go to tribes or to whatever? I see. And we're discussing a lot of ancillary things that aren't at the root of the issue. Like if you look at the end, it's like sponsored by like DraftKings or some shit.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's shady, man.
We'll see what it is. Hey, can I say this about the Indian tribes?
Sure.
Look, you wearing a denim shirt like Jay Leno and then putting your ceremonial necklace over the top, that ain't cutting it. I want you in full garb.
Robes.
YMCA.
Full
like
rain
full
dance, full headdress.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Frills.
Can't just put some shit that I could get anywhere and toss it over my head and say, hey, look at me. I'm in the tribe.
Right.
You go whole hog.
I get it.
Or stay home. Go back to your teepee. Go ahead.
For years, California's non-gaming tribes have been left in the dust. Wealthy tribes with big casinos make billions, while small tribes struggle in poverty. Prop 27 is a game changer. 27 taxes and regulates online sports betting to fund permanent solutions to homelessness while helping every tribe in California. So who's attacking Prop 27? Wealthy casino tribes who want all the money for themselves. Support small tribes. Address homelessness. Vote yes on 27.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good.
Was a sponsor.
Sounds good.
I'm all for it.
Until you see the one against it, and then you'll go, And listen, I don't want to see you out there in a fucking golf shirt with a necklace around it. Go full garb, man.
Show us who you are.
By the way, is there anything involving homelessness and money that makes you think you would get 1 inch closer to the finish line or solving it? Like, we need resources. And you've spent $200 billion in the last 20 minutes. It's got nothing. I'm starting to think money is making the problem worse at this point. Like, once we start taxing these big casinos, then the money will flow into the homeless community, and what?
Yeah, then what?
Then what?
They become really good at blackjack.
And this will be a huge windfall, too. This is legalized sports gambling in California. Can you imagine how much money that would raise?
Yeah, but I don't know why certain tribes get to put a casino up and other tribes don't.
Because there's some...
And when you park there, like at Chumash or whatever, there's places you can't park. There's like handicap parking and VIP parking, and then there's elder tribesmen.
Yeah.
Or tribal
Oh, really?
elders.
Medicine man.
Yeah, tribal elder parking. You can't park there
Yeah,
either.
tribal members.
I will say that at the risk of sounding angry and old, those of you who are in shitty tribes that don't get to gamble, ask me how many casinos my tribe has.
How many casinos?
Zero. I've managed to make a life for myself, minus the revenues that would come from the casino that would be on my dad's land.
Right.
So
you literally-
there is a path out,
Right.
folks that are floundering.
Yeah. Not everybody.
Not
has
everyone
their own
goes the casino route. There's just a route where you get a job, fight to keep it.
Well,
those kinds of things.
most of the like I'm quarter Tiwa Indian, and we have like
shit.
So tell us.
Our
Come on,
casino
fool.
doesn't even have tables, nothing. It's just slots. But if you grew up on the reservation like all my cousins, you're gonna work at the casino at least one time in your life, like high school, whatever. Like that's where everybody gets a job.
Mm-hmm.
So it does provide like work and stuff like that. But it's not like they're not balling, like.
You don't
Fools
just
are struggling out there.
You don't just get
So
a
it's
check
like-
every month with just zeros and zeros and zeros behind it.
Not it's like not
It's
every
only zeros.
Yeah.
So you're in a tribe that just has slots?
Yeah, they just have slots. They used to have tables, and then first the second Bush, I think, took them out, and then they came back, and then Trump like shut it down completely. So they had to go to a bunch of court dates and lawyer up and all that, and they finally got it reopened.
Well, who knows more about running a successful casino than Donald Trump?
That's right. Yeah, maybe he's giving you some tips.
That's right. It's weird because in California, you never think of slots. You think of only card houses.
I can't. Gambling to me is like strip clubs where they go, well, we can go topless and have beer and wine, or we can go bikini and have a full bar,
Or
we
juice
can go
bar.
nude and we'll have soda. It's like, do we really need this many stipulations
Yeah.
involving titties and booze? It's the great Frank Zappa sung about.
I'm a gaming enthusiast, and it always annoyed me when I would go to a reservation casino and it would be some version of craps because the law was so bizarre. You had to play with cards.
It's called poops.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But there was always some bobo version of the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there was some rule you were beholden to, but it sucked.
Yeah. Just
I agree.
It's just all slots at that casino. Yeah.
Well, I think what we figured out, if we've learned anything, is it was there was no sports gambling was like, oh, you could never give the spreads out, you couldn't pick against the spread.
You mentioned there was a spread.
So the New England Patriots at 14-0 were playing at home against the hapless Cleveland Browns, and then they go, now it's time for the pick'ems. My lock for the week. Yeah, they're giving away 19 points. You got to factor that in, but they couldn't even bring it up.
I don't get it because I don't really
I was like,
understand
well, we don't
gambling.
want to condone.
As though to suggest there was some gambling
Money on the line.
elements, yeah,
I see.
in football.
Now that's all they do,
Right.
and nobody gives a shit. And it's the
Did
same.
society collapse because of that?
No, it was like when I
popular
just started in radio and couldn't say titties on the radio.
Right.
It's like, you can't do it, and then now you can, and nobody cares.
Right.
Can't we just do this with gambling? Like, look, people either want to gamble or they don't want to gamble. And when they do want to gamble, they would like to play 21 or something they're familiar with versus your weird version of it. And who are you fooling with this? Like, is it God? Like who you slide?
It's
why are
the
you winning on
Shabbos
it?
Goy of the casino.
Yes, you're winning on some sort of weird technicality. And there's the card clubs.
Yeah, like
that are in
Commerce
Gardena. And you can go there, but you can't play against the house. You have to play against whatever.
They take a rake.
It's the fucking rules.
Yeah, I don't get gambling enough to know why this is a big deal.
Chris, what is the commercial that then is counter this commercial?
Because so far
which
I'm on this guy's side.
Yeah.
So I want to see what the difference is.
All right, yeah, we can play it. It's here. This is a no.
Oh, this is no. Now hold on. All right. At least this dude has a mohawk, and he's wearing a Flava Flav type size medallion.
It's probably a native ornamental.
So I tend to agree with this guy more.
But he looks a little bit shady, though. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
I
he's
think
not.
that's the point. I think we're going to see they're slandering the other
Oh,
side.
okay, yeah, got it. Oh, that's why he's like fogged out.
Have you
Yeah.
seen this ad?
Yeah, right.
Seen this ad?
Yeah.
It's not paid for by California tribes. It's paid for by the out-of-state gambling corporations that wrote Prop 27.
Fuck yeah, it is.
It doesn't tell you 90% of the profits go to the out-of-state corporations. A tiny share goes to the homeless and
Wait a
even less
second.
to
That's how business
tribes.
works.
And a big loophole says cost to promote betting reduce money for the tribes, so they get less. Hidden agendas, fine print, loopholes. Prop 27. They didn't write it for the tribes or the homeless. They wrote it for themselves.
Paid for by Paula Castino and San Manuel.
Well, now I don't like them. Now I don't like the prop.
This is the problem.
What to do?
Yeah, exactly.
What to do?
Don't you want me to be happy?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
You more than the Shumash community, apparently.
Thank you.
I've seen each commercial 1,300 times. I have no fucking idea what's going
Yeah,
on.
me neither, man. I don't even know if those are legit like tribal members and shit.
That's a good point.
What's the 1/4 tribe you're in?
Tiwa.
Tiwa?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, fool. And
There you go.
you guys
I
just
rolled out
have,
the tongue right
you just
there.
have slots, huh?
Yeah, we just have slots, but
Where are you guys at?
it's pretty much El Paso, like right at the border.
Yeah.
Isleta Pueblo, it's called. But
Around
it's
New Mexico-ish.
Yeah, it's like an hour drive to New Mexico from there.
You ever get by there? Drop a few nickels in?
Of course, yeah.
Gotta contribute.
Yeah. My uncle is a chief, actually. He became chief like 2 years ago.
Nice.
Oh,
My
really?
mom, it's my great uncle, my mom's.
How does it
uncle.
work? Is it elected? Is it appointed?
Yeah, you vote. There's like a certain amount of tribal members. I want to say like 12 or 16. They vote. Yeah, and then whoever becomes chief is chief until death.
Wow.
Damn.
You know, there's an American Indian stand-up comedian from the 70s.
Who?
God, Ed something?
The one.
You can find. You can
Better
find.
have Thunder
that
is name.
one?
There was an American Indian. A guy would show up on like Johnny Carson and maybe Ed Sullivan back in the day. He's the 70s. I only remember. I
Charlie
got one.
Hill?
Charlie Hill.
Oh,
Yakov,
yeah. I remember
Yakov
that, dude.
Thunderfoot.
Yeah. Do you remember Charlie Hill? I remember one joke.
Please.
He had one joke that I
Regale
remember
us.
from 10. He would start the show, he'd clap, they'd open the curtain, he'd
This is
walk.
cultural appropriation.
He'd walk out there and he'd go, "Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?" It was a big laugh when I was 9.
That's great.
Find his set. Would he do the Tonight Show and stuff? Like, he was out there making the rounds. I don't know if his whole act was the Indian act.
He was born in Detroit.
The Indian Act.
But he was Oneida and Mohawk and Cree.
Yeah, Michigan's a big Native
Is it? Yeah, I don't
American
know.
ground. Yeah.
He wrote for Roseanne,
Wow.
the TV show. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
what?
yeah, sorry, yeah, the TV show.
Oh,
Well, that was the Tomahawk episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see if we can find him.
He
'cause-
performed on the Richard Pryor show.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still alive,
Let's see.
but you could probably rip off his act.
He
if
died
you-
in 2013.
Oh, then you could for sure
Oh, there
rip
you
off
go.
his
Just
act.
take it. Yeah.
he was on Tonight Show with Carson and Leno, and then also in Letterman as well.
Oh, you got to ask Leno about Charlie Hill.
Oh, Leno will first off, he knows. Oh, yeah, I'm a funny guy. Yeah, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? He do the hi, how are you? He do the hi, how are you? Do the fire water bed. He do the who fought in the teepee. That's his thing. He do smoke signals collect. Yeah, he would do a lot of with a lot of Indian stuff.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, Charlie Hill. Yeah, his friend. Yeah. He would. I guarantee Leno would know him. He'd know it. He knows.
Did
just
you say
jumping
smoke signal collect?
Yeah, the smoke signals collect. Send that signal
Funny.
collect. He do that bit. He do the Squanto bit. He do the Squam bit. I don't know if he could do the Squam bit today, but he do the Squaw. He do the Who's Papoose. That was his bit.
Like, who's on first?
Yeah, Who's Papoose is on first. Squaws in the outfield. That was his whole bit. Yeah, he'd do the whole American Indian thing. He'd only do one part of Buffalo. That was kind of that was his thing. He didn't eat the whole buffalo. That was his his
His
thing.
signature thing.
Yeah, his thing. He never went bareback. He did 2 saddles. It was kind of his thing. It was like kind of the Clown Prince of
Refined,
India.
yeah.
Right.
American Indians was his
Poking
thing. Yeah, I
fun.
got his act.
Oh,
Yeah,
there he
I
is.
caught his
Oh,
act.
so you remember?
Oh, yeah, it was at Hermosa Magic Beach and Club Building there with me. Yeah, he was open. I took him on the road a few times. Yeah, he liked the ladies.
Oh,
he'll say code stuff for the guy who's an out of control drunk. Well,
he liked to have a good time.
He's sitting with. Is there a tape of his act somewhere? Oh, we have it. All right, we'll have it again. I wouldn't say this stuff is public domain, Frankie, but I would say if there's something that makes you laugh,
have at it.
Feel free. You're culturally kind of grandfathered in with the tribe and all.
This is from the Richard Pryor show.
Okay.
Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya?
This is a hate crime.
I usually have problems doing my act, because I know a lot of you white people never seen an Indian do stand-up comedy before, Like for so long you probably thought that Indians never had a sense of humor, We never thought you were too funny either. See some people back there putting their chairs in a circle. My name is Charlie Hill, Sagoli. I'm Oneida. I'm from Wisconsin. It's part of your coronation. My people are from Wisconsin. We used to be from New York. We had a little real estate problem.
Hey, he did the whole cigar store white man.
I came out here, Los Angeles, a few years ago. I don't drink. No, don't drink. Firewater to Indians. That's just like kryptonite. Here, drink this, sign this, move here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do the kryptonite firewater bit.
People come up to me now, too, and they say, can you speak Indian? And they're like over 300 different tribes. Can you speak Indian? It's like saying, hey, can you speak Caucasian? But that's the name they give us, Indians. Indians was the name Christopher Columbus gave us, which is incorrect. He named us Indians because he thought he was in India, I'm sure glad he wasn't looking for Turkey.
He did cuss this last squat when took a shit before the big battle there. This is all the Charlie Hill spits.
I'm not saying, we're doubled over, but all of those jokes could absolutely play today.
Those are good jokes.
Yeah, they work.
And by the way, you think you'd head out to, the Laugh Factory and some 23-year-old drunken chick would stand up and go, hey, that's an old Charlie Hill bit.
I know that bit. That's Charlie Hill. I know that bit.
They're going to say shit. All they're going to do is laugh.
Boo!
Do the whole circle the chairs bit and the land bit. Yeah. Well, look, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm pretty seasoned, though, and very high batting average.
Charlie.
Charlie Hill was. Well, you never even heard of him. What are the chances the people in the crowd are going to? By the way, shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you for not hearing of the pioneering, the Harriet Tubman of Indian stand-up comedians.
That's like me saying Jackie Mason who.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, come on. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Brian going, Telly who?
Exactly right.
Mr. Clean what?
You what?
Yeah.
This guy was good looking.
Yeah.
Young. What happened?
Proud.
What happened? Yeah, he did the Charlie Hill did the whole hope the eagle shits on you, that bit.
Yeah,
I did the my uncle was the guy crying by the side of the river guy. Yeah, that's Charlie Hill bit.
The Iron Eyes Cody bit?
Yeah, he would do that bit.
Was the peace pipe bit his?
Yeah, he would do Don't Bogart the Peace Pipe.
That's funny. That's
Charlie Hill's
that was
bit.
a good one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Charlie Hill bits. Let's see. Died of lymphoma in 2013. I wonder how old he was.
62.
Now, he should still be with us. So you can get, back then you could put together 5 minutes, do it on those shows, and just travel around and just do. But I wonder, he's headlining, Charlie Hill's headlining a nightclub. He's doing an hour. Mm-hmm. Is it all Indian stuff, or it's at some points you're talking about the old lady, or the kids, it's like, was he spread it out a little bit?
Here's my guess. I think from the flavor of the day, you sort of cash in on what makes you different, and people look at it almost like a little bit of a sideshow act, so you stick with what You stick with why they brought you? That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Lano about him. Seriously, Lano would know.
I think we just did.
I cover. Yeah, no, he would know. He would know. He knows all these guys. All right, let's see. Let me hit concrete. Oh, your body makes about half the creatine it needs. The other half comes from your diet, but most American diets are low in creatine-rich foods. Concrete, patented creatine, HCl is a favorite creatine of elite, well-informed athletes. It is the number one bioavailable creatine and the only microdosing creatine. Just one small scoop per 100 pounds. Put it in the shaker. Shake that water up. It's got a nice lemon flavor to it. And you'll feel the energy as soon as you take a few sips. It comes on immediately. Creatine is required for functional energy in every cell. Your brain uses about 20% of the creatine in your body. Immune cells need it to protect you, and your heart cells need it to pump. Lung cells need it to breathe. It is concrete, right, Dawson?
Take control of your health, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. Register now at con-crete.com/podcast. That's con-cret.com/podcast for a chance to win a $500 Walmart Visa gift card available now online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing.
All right. We got some news coming. Frankie's going to hang out. Come on, fool. Don't whistle while I'm setting up the news. There he goes again.
Frankie, that's just rude.
All right, we'll do that right after this.
So the Queen died. We all know it. We can move on from that. I mean, that was kind of the headline. 96 years old. Now, who's taken over? 73-year-old Charles. And Elizabeth saw a lot of shit. She was on the throne since 1952, not a euphemism for the toilet. Over her 70-year-long reign, she oversaw decolonization, the independence of more than 20 countries that once part of the British Empire, which I think most people appreciate, at least those 20 countries.
Yeah, if you lived in India.
That's right.
Probably happy.
The sun never set on the British Empire.
That was a result of revolution, though, right? That wasn't like her saying, our time here is done.
She got to take the credit. She was the Queen Mother.
Okay.
So
I saw the crawl on CNN that she outlived Charlie Hill by 35 years. Did you know that?
I didn't realize that was going to be the takeaway.
That was well, it's on the crawl. I don't know. I didn't have the sound up.
Right.
I don't know what they were talking about.
Understood. Because we were talking about when we showed a clip before you got here, Frankie, of your giant dog just mauling you to death.
Yes.
Would you like to just quickly see the difference in our two homes when it comes to animals?
Mm-hmm.
I'm puppy sitting a 4-month-old Shih Tzu. I have such the feline, the female canine hydration. It's got to be clear, perfect, clean water. I change it every hour. He's my baby. I don't want him drinking dirty water. So your dog is giant and attacking you. This is how we spend our time. Go ahead and play it. His name's Gigi.
You just
and
drag?
Because he likes the towel. So I sing to him and I drag him around on the towel because he likes it.
Man, the way...
all day I'll do it.
The way we
Anything
used
he
to treat
wants.
kids and pets was 100% different.
That's my
when
baby.
I was growing up.
That's my baby. He's just a little love, a little fluff, and he is the prince. He's the prince while we have him.
Well, you think about a dog and you're like, oh, he's the sweetest. Right, because you're dragging him around by a sweater. You know
but
what
he
I mean?
loves it.
This shit never goes down with dogs. It's like they never get fired. They never get
That's
dumped by
Yeah.
their girlfriend.
No.
It's not like, their puppy son borrowed their car and wrapped it around a telephone pole.
No,
they don't
never.
get shit canned. They just don't have bad days.
Never.
It's all the same day.
I
Dragging
get
around by sweater.
Yeah, I get him up. Well, he gets me up because I'm well trained. And we'll go to the dog park now at 6:30. There's a new one under the power line. Well, I'm not supposed to tell because they don't want it. They like it small. But there's under the power lines over by the Chandler bike path. And he's put him in a little small dog thing, and he's running around. And this one dog starts like biting his ear. I fucking saw red. I broke that shit up and sent that guy home with Sancho, his dog.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Was Sancho?
Sancho.
Is he into Santeria?
That means something else in the community.
Excuse me, Sancho.
That was the thing. Like, I'm fine. Like, I love, he's playing with the dogs. It's all good. You got to learn. That's how you learn. You don't step to a big dog like that. But he kept doing it, and the owner was like not really into watching it. And I was like, well, I got a 4-month-old puppy here. Come on, man.
What's Sancho mean?
Sancho is like, well, I grew up understanding it as like a side piece, like for a girl, like would have like a Sancho.
When the guy's away in prison,
like,
Sancho slips in.
Yeah, is that your man? No, it's just my Sancho,
At my elementary school, it was on the menu, a cheese Sancho.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's just a tortilla with cheese
Well,
on it.
what the Sublime song talks about
He's talking about
Sancho.
Sancho's throat.
When he's away in prison, Sancho comes in.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's who Sancho
Oh, that's what Sancho is.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it comes from Sancho Panza of Don Quixote, which it's like a side piece, side man guy.
Mm-hmm.
That song makes a lot more sense.
It's a good name for a dog.
But wait, what's that? Oh, that's the dog's name?
That was the dog's name.
Oh, okay,
And I get, like I said, I roughhouse with my kid, I roughhouse with the dog, but like, I'm not going to let another dog just fucking attack this puppy. I'll Karen it up. I don't give a shit.
Good for you.
All right, let's move on. Pop singer Ricky Martin is headed back to court against his nephew. Remember that little situation?
Mm-hmm.
He filed a $20 million lawsuit claiming that Dennis Sanchez, not Sancho, has continued to harass him and besiege him with dozens of texts a day. So when pressed under oath earlier this summer, Dennis Sanchez withdrew claims that his uncle Ricky stalked him following an incestuous relationship. Now the tables have turned and Ricky's making the accusations. Ricky called his nephew a maladjusted person in the lawsuit, which alleges an extortion attempt. Dennis demanded cash and threatened to, quote, assassinate Ricky Martin's reputation, as if it wasn't damaging enough to publicly say you were fucking your nephew for however long. But Sanchez's father, who's Ricky's brother, confirmed that his son has mental health issues. Meanwhile, Puerto Rican laws could have put Ricky in prison for 50 years if he was found guilty of incest.
I don't think he would have done well in prison.
Or he would have done very well.
He would have been living the vida loca
That's
for sure.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, he would have been a star for a while, but eventually the
star would fade.
Yeah.
There'd be some tarnish on that star.
But he would also be really good, what's the word? Collateral?
In prison?
Yeah.
He'd be a good Sancho.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk more about some sketchy lawsuit doings. We talked about this the other day. Aries Spears is speaking out for the first time publicly after he and Tiffany Haddish were sued for grooming and molesting 2 children during an old skit they performed. In a preview for his podcast, it's called Spears and Steinberg, Aries admits that that's not a whole lot he can say. There's a lawsuit pending, but he does call the lawsuit an extortion case and a shakedown. Spears' comments come a couple days after Tiffany's comments. She posted on Instagram saying, clearly, while the sketch was intended to be comedic, it wasn't funny at all. I deeply regret having agreed to act in it. I really look forward to being able to share a lot more about this situation as soon as I can. So both comedians were sued by a female and male plaintiff who claimed that they were groomed and convinced to play this part in this skit. The girl was 14, the boy was 7. The skit was called Through a Pedophile's Eyes, with the young boy included Spears applying like massage oil to him, as well as the boy making sexually suggestive motion with toys. And there's just not no. And I'm sure people are looking for it, but I'm not putting Through a Pedophile's Eyes on my search terms right now.
It just seemed like it was really a bad joke and
just
poor
tasteless.
taste.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it
Funny or
was
Die
grooming.
came out and said, we got rid of this immediately, which maybe they did. I don't know.
It seems like a way to get paid. Seems like a dumb joke.
Well, and this isn't
not very
recent.
funny.
I mean, the boy and girl who were 7 and 14 at the time are adults, so this is not new. And I guess the mom, Teresa, and the kids have tried this before, and we'll see where it goes.
But you still wonder if there's some connection to the Aries Spears getting in trouble with the universe on the internet a few days before, and then this coming up now, because I hadn't heard any Aries Spears news
He
before
was on the
that.
tip of everyone's tongue like this.
There's an element. I don't know.
Do you know Aries Spears?
I mean, I met him, but we're not. Yeah. I'm just. They said they were groomed, like so. I don't get it. Like on the set, or like there was like.
That's a great question.
They've realized what we now do with society is we sort of highlight certain words and we run with them, like grooming. Grooming's 10 minutes old. We never use it for. And then we go, they're grooming these young kids, and then we go, ooh, that's bad, right? And then we go, ooh, if we want to make something sound bad, then we'll call this thing grooming. And then it's going to sound worse than what it was.
That's a good word, like your casualties.
Yeah,
grooming is
grooming a pet.
really great or really terrible.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. We got that new Dancing with the Stars season 31 list. Joining previously announced TikTok star Charli D'Amelio and her mother, Heidi, on the dance floor will be Jordan Sparks, Wayne Brady, Gabby Windy. She's from Bachelor. Teresa Giudice. This one's interesting. Actress Selma Blair. She had MS. It's in remission, so I think that'll be fun for her. Vinny Guadagnino.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Right.
Singer-songwriter Jesse James Decker. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Joseph Baena.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
That's the son with the pirate he had sex
or
with?
Whatever, yeah.
I think she was a pirate.
Pirate?
I thought she was their nanny.
She was their housekeeper, I thought.
I've seen her, seen a picture of her. She was their pirate.
That's weird that they were.
At like a costume party?
Oh, well, you have enough money. Don't be naive, Ryan. When you have enough, you know how much cash this guy has? I think he can afford his own pirate. I'm thinking,
pirate.
You think he can afford a pirate?
The man's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hence,
he can afford a pirate.
He is a pirate.
I mean, to Adam's point, I'm looking at a picture of her as a pirate right now.
She's from Bakersfield too, right?
Oh, shit.
She's a
pirate. A lot of pirates in Bakersfield.
She's a pirate, for sure. I'm looking at her as a pirate.
You're not seeing it?
Swashbuckling.
I've been, you know what? I was open to the possibility, and now I've seen it.
He was her pirate.
That's right.
Chris will find the picture.
Yeah, she's most definitely a pirate.
I don't know if it's full-time.
I'm looking at a picture of her.
But she definitely was employed as a pirate.
Right.
You know, when you
From
get
9 to
home,
5.
you become a mother.
Right.
Or a woman.
It's like
but when
being
you
a
clock
Sancho.
in...
You're not a full-time Sancho, but you are a Sancho.
That's right.
Somebody's Sancho. So Alfonso Ribeiro and Tyra Banks will co-host the new season. And judges Len Goodman, Carrie Ananaba, and Bruno Tonioli, and Derek Huff will be back to score the performances.
Derek's a judge now?
Yeah. That'll premiere on Disney Plus on September 19th.
Disney Plus?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's that picture, Max?
We're
We're getting it.
It's Mildred Patricia Baena Pirate. That's what I searched.
Yeah, I think the thing with Dancing with the Stars is I think they probably hit up a lot of celebs, and then it's a hard pass for some. But they have to say, like, I'll see you in a few years. Things are going pretty good about now.
You'll be asking us.
You might be passing out.
We'll be back in a few years.
Hey, but good for you. You were network.
I did it. They asked me once, and I was like, this sounds like some scary shit, and I'm in. That was my only thought.
Do you remember a move? Like a dance move?
Oh. Other than riding my unicycle,
like a foxtrot, a paso doble?
I have no real recollection of what it was. I just remember being scared.
I get it.
Scared to death.
I get it. Well, while they're looking for that, let's move on to. Oh, there it is.
Okay, Brian.
Oh, wow.
Someone owes me an apology.
You know what? I should have come out so hard with the seriously pirate thing. I should have been more open.
Yeah. There it is.
A lot of rich people have pirates. You know that?
We didn't know that because we're not rich.
Well, let me explain why. A lot of these fat cats, Bezos, guys like that, they all got pirates.
Personal pirate?
Well, they have captains,
right?
Because they have boats. Well, how are you going to have a boat and a captain? Eventually, you'll get to pirate.
You're a pirate.
You know what I mean?
If you're that rich.
It starts with like nanny, personal trainer.
Oh.
But that's a shit people in my bracket have. I'm not in Bezos's bracket.
Right.
I can't afford. I mean, I had a part-time pirate for,
You'd have to sell a couple
while
cars
when
to
the
get a
kids were
pirate.
younger.
Sure.
But these guys can afford it. So they go full pirate.
Wait, so he had her. So you're saying Arnold had her on the boat, on his boat first, and then he brought her into the home?
She comes onto the boat.
She's a pirate.
Got
She
it.
swings on the boat.
They don't push off with her on. That's not how pirates work.
She intercepts.
I'm not going to tell you how to be an Indian. You don't tell me how to be a pirate. Can we agree on that? I don't want to get, sorry. Just go on with the news.
Yeah.
It took a turn.
I get it.
I was kind of being disrespected.
I understand. You got to put him in his place. Comes in here talking all crazy.
Say, what's up, fool?
Hey, Chris, you got that pirate stand-up comedian from the 70s?
Fatty Arbuckle.
Wow. Gina.
Stupid. Let's move on to some hot football goss that I was not aware of. Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen began the NFL season under some stress. She reportedly has separated from him because he reneged on his pledge to retire from football. A close friend explained Gisele's frustration with her husband, saying she was so happy when he announced his retirement, was not thrilled when he said he was going back. Tom is reportedly trying to make amends, short of quitting on his NFL teammates. Brady is driven to win another Super Bowl. The question remains if he's willing to risk the marriage on an 8th Super Bowl championship ring. She's pretty pissed, allegedly.
Well, she's pissed that he's going to spend so much time away from home, and her remedy is
Leaving
get
the
away
country.
from the home full time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
That'll show him.
I'm sure he's so goddamn intense. I don't know.
Which is funny because he doesn't look intense. You know what I mean? He has that Katy Perry face.
But could you imagine
beautiful
living with Tom Brady or Tom Cruise or something?
Maybe
And
Tom.
like at some point, you're just like,
maybe Tom.
I just want to crack a beer and sneak a cigarette, like out on the balcony, and they're fucking looking, and you sleep in till 5:45, so they think you're a loser.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he's making shakes out of avocados every morning, and you're just like, can we just fucking chillax a little bit here? I mean. That they'd be too intense.
Yeah, because home is where you kind of let it all hang out, and you go home to that. You're still on the clock, essentially.
Also, there's something weird about this version of this story, which is she really upset that Tom's going to be gone till January or whatever? You know what I mean? Like he's not committing to a life of crime. He's going to be playing football for 3.5 months.
And getting paid $37 million
exactly
for his troubles. I would also say, here's what I would say.
Yeah.
I would say, because, he plays for the Buccaneers, which are kind of a form of a pirate.
Right. That's right. Swashbuckling.
Everyone listen.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Right. I'll bet she would say, I don't give a shit that he's at the training facility all day. Then the guy comes home and he just watches footage. He's just studying. I can't even get through to him. He's constantly scheming because his whole thing is preparation,
right.
And he's probably just sitting watching game film and coming up to the Sunday game, whatever. He's probably completely checked out and completely focused on shit for the entire season.
Right. Yeah. And he has how many kids? He has 3 kids, 2 with Gisele and 1 from a former
Bridget Moynihan.
Oh, really? That's who it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Who's older? He's like
I guess a little bit.
Yeah.
His kids better be damn good looking.
Oh, God.
The girl
imagine?
looks just like Gisele. She has that same
how
face.
How fortunate.
Yeah. Very cute as a little kid, but yeah, I'm sure she'll be. I'm not going to.
Bridget.
I don't want to go all Tiffany Haddish on this. I'm sure she's a lovely girl.
Not chopped liver either.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Oh, she's
good
great
genes,
looking.
Very good genes. So, you know how for a while there we were all USA, we're not changing patches on jackets and stuff for the Chinese market, and we're not, bending anymore. Well, if you see Minions, The Rise of Gru, that's the latest.
Obsessed.
I know, so's the little guy. In China, you're going to get a different ending. Now, this is a children's movie, spoiler alert. Fast forward 15 seconds if you don't want to hear it. But in the U.S., the sequel ends with a 12-year-old little Gru, voiced by Steve Carell, and his cohort, Wild Knuckles, driving off together. And, the villain fakes his death, and they're both villains, and they ride off into the sunset. But in the version playing in China, Gru is said to have returned to his family, and his biggest accomplishment is being the father to his 3 girls. Wild Knuckles is said to have been apprehended by law enforcement and sentenced to 20 years in prison. And that's the text as the credits roll.
If he just had powdered cocaine on him, he would have done a quarter
6 months.
that time.
That's right. Now, that's not the only movie.
Why is this important to China?
Well, because they don't like standing up to authority like that and getting away with it. So he had to be apprehended. He had to go back to his family. But it's also, they also did this with Fight Club recently. I don't know why Fight Club's just getting on the radar there now. But 6 months ago, the original ending of Fight Club was reported to be getting restored for China after the government censored it. One more spoiler alert for you. So instead, I'll be vague-ish. Instead of a bunch of buildings blowing up at the end, on screen, the script says, police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all the criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding.
This is Poochie from The Simpsons. Remember they just pulled this slide out and had a ham-handed voiceover like, Poochie, return to his home planet.
And I mean, of course, the Weibo is like their Twitter in China. Everyone on there is making fun of this, and nobody wants to see these movies, but the government is really into it.
First rule of Fight Club: bow to the authorities.
That's right. It's all about conforming.
That's right. They really got the point of the movie.
There's a part of me that feels that way about when Robert De Niro in Casino was like, why does this muffin have so many blueberries and this muffin doesn't?
Everyone should have 32 blueberries.
And you always go, why is he? On the other hand, it seems to work. Whatever it is they're doing, they've had a long run. And it's whatever those techniques are, they seem to be effective.
But as opposed to like North Korea, where they're so isolated, people in China are making fun of this. But they still don't think they could do about it.
I hope so. Oh, was she Chinese or Japanese?
Uh-oh.
Who was that female comedian
Chinese.
who used to date Andrew Dice Clay? Who
was here yesterday?
Kerrigan?
No. She was the Japanese, I think, comedian. We've talked about her before. You played a clip of like a woman in a kimono who was doing like thick accented or maybe maybe she dated like Sam Kinison or something.
Like late 1980s.
Yeah, and she would go I think she was Japanese. She'd go, you have a Playboy with naked woman centerfold. In Japan, centerfold, Toyota truck. And everyone would laugh.
This is Tamayo Otsuki?
Yes, everyone would write for her. I think could have outdone Charlie in this sort of the offensive. It was Sam Kinison she dated. Yeah, I think she's still around.
Wow.
But yeah.
She's on the next Adam Carolla on Friends. That's the Improv.
That's right.
A very good friend of mine who was on America's Got Talent, who's been a comedian forever, for a very long time, Aiko Tanaka, who's knockout gorgeous, by the way, is a Japanese comedian. If we want to go head to head, we should have her on.
All right, fine.
You know Aiko?
Yeah, that's
she's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Did Tamayo ever do the Tonight Show or anything? I think
we played a clip. That's the only reason I ever
somebody
heard
got hold of her and just said,
do this.
Just do this. Just say Toyota truck, like centerfold. It's the most hackneyed shit ever.
I'm sorry, what is the joke with the Toyota truck?
You have a Playboy with the centerfold is a naked lady. In Japan, it's a Toyota truck.
That's the centerfold.
That's sexy.
Toyota.
So that joke is that's so sexy it could be a centerfold.
Yes, Brian. Yes, it is. That's her joke. That's how jokes work. They're not all tens. Boy, first the pirate explanation, and now here's how comedy works.
Brian's slipping.
It's a fusion day.
You can find her somewhere, Chris. It'll make you.
Yeah, I mean, on IMDb, she was on the Chuck Woolery show and the Joan Rivers show, and she had a VH1. She had a VH1 thing too.
I think she performed one night when I went out to see my buddy Philip the Juggler at like the Laugh Factory or something. She was performing that night, and it kind of like. It kind of seared, but it was. I think they're filming it for like a TV when they do those comedy night, 80s TV shows. If you can find me any part of her act, I will.
Yeah, we're pulling it up.
Find the Toyota truck joke.
I will.
Specifically.
Oh, yeah. I remember Tomato. She did the truck, the centerfold joke. She did the whole samurai bit.
Hey, the geisha.
Yeah, that samurai was a Jewish guy who may own the deli. Samurai. But he's talking about cutting the sandwich with the samurai sword. But the guy's name was Samurai. You know what I mean? That's where the rub was. Like rye bread, you know? She'd do that.
Yeah, it's funny.
She'd do the geisha girl caught in a windstorm. That was her bit. She would do the Harry Carey bit. But again, the guy's name was Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have remembered this as a kimono because it is kind of fashioned after it.
Yeah. This is the Rosie O'Donnell stand-up spotlight. Remember that?
Oh, she would do the whole domestic goddess bit. She would do that whole thing, you know, I should get paid to make bacon. You know,
I think that was Roseanne.
Oh, Rosie O'Donnell. Oh,
Roseanne.
yeah, different Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah,
Rosie.
Roseanne. Yeah, she would do O'Donnell did the cutie patootie chop.
That's right. That's right.
And then Roseanne, she would do the domestic guy. Yeah, look, I know them all. I know the bits. She'd do the "You So Horny" bit. That was her bit, too.
Dead or alive? What do you guys think?
We love you short time. That was her thing. Huh?
Alive. She's alive. Huh?
She's alive.
Dead.
Oh!
No. I'm guessing.
She's alive, guys. 63.
Good for her.
She's 63 years young.
Good.
Yeah.
What's she been doing?
She's going to open for Frankie when he's out at Comedy Works at Denver.
Yeah.
Coming up September 16th.
Double bill.
And the 17th. So, all right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Because I'm well trained.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
So, when she was with Sam Kinison, do you think they would sit around and just talk comedy?
That seems like an odd pairing.
I don't think it was like talking.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
I don't either.
Sam seemed like a man of action.
Yeah, that's a surprising combination.
Yeah.
I wonder if she really talks like that or she's just doing
that. That was my question.
Yeah.
Like, how much was she putting it on?
Right. Curious.
We can ask her.
I guarantee August would know.
Yeah.
Call me naive, but is there any interview where, you know,
where's her TED Talk?
Mike Douglas waved her over to the sofa and she sat down and did her normal voice or something.
Yeah.
I thought the story with her, she was very Japanese and people were like teaching her jokes, like maybe even like phonetically and that kind of stuff.
Oh.
But I don't know. What did
she pulled it off?
What was her story? We could
Not much about her.
Not much about her. All right. Well, she lives on in the hearts and the minds of one Adam Carolla who remembers her stuff. All right. Let me tell you last but not least about Jordan Harbinger, the Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this podcast and this episode. The Jordan Harbinger Show, well, if you're a fan, a fascinating podcast with interesting people, you should definitely check it out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. Jordan talks with Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter. Or you can go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something that's useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity or slight mindset tweaks that change how you see the world. And you can check it out. We enjoy it. I think you're going to enjoy it too. So search it out. The Jordan Harbinger Show. That's HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER. That's Harbinger. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to finer podcasts. All right, so it's tonight and tomorrow night, Cap City Comedy Club. We'll do some live pods, early show, live stand-up, late show, the Boz, and we'll probably add another guest or two coming out, so say hi to that. Boz is on stage tonight. You can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. This Fool, name of the show, season 1 streaming now on Hulu. Coming up, live dates and Denver Comedy Works, as I've said. And you can find dates at Frankie Quiñones.com is where you go. And, of course, Willie Mays Aikens, the Royal, out on VOD. As we speak until next time, this is Adam for Willie and Frankie and Gina and Bald. Say it. Mahalo.